Hi everyone, it's Dr. Brad Meyer from Stephen F. Austin State University, where I'm the Associate Professor of Percussion. My fourth and final tip for the ATSSB Year E etude in timpani is to make sure that we approach our rolls in a way that makes them sound full and not too fast or too slow. So kind of that Goldilocks principle. So when I think about rolls, typically I think about young percussionists, high school, middle school. We typically are trying to roll too fast, especially on lower drums. So I'll hear something like this from a young high schooler. Now that roll is way too fast for a number of reasons. We want to keep in mind that rolls take into account the pitch or size of the drum, because those are usually correlated, and also the dynamic we're at. So if I have a bigger drum, like a 32 or a concert bass drum, I'm going to use a slower roll speed. But if I have a higher drum or something maybe like a tom-tom, I might even use a buzz roll on a tom-tom or a really fast single stroke. Same thing on a higher timpano. I'm going to use a fast roll when it's that higher pitch. Also when it's louder, it's typically going to be on the faster end versus slower on the lower end. And that's because as a loud sound is hit, the dynamic dies away quickly. But at that soft end, if I play something softly, that resonance is going to be very similar to that attack. So louder, I need that roll speed to be faster. Softer, it can be a little slower because the resonance is helping fill in that roll speed. So we do have a few rolls in this piece, and they're typically on either a C or a B flat and on that low F. And so we just want to watch out as we're playing those in their ranges and their dynamics. We want to make sure that we're probably trying to err on the side of slightly slower than what we feel comfortable with, because that's the general tendency of young percussionists. So as I roll that low F, you can hear as I crescendoed, I just slightly sped up. Now notice I didn't go da 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 da. It wasn't a accelerando for the ages. Instead, it was just a light, if I play on the rim, something like that, just a slight change. And that's what I want to do anytime that I crescendo, is just a slight change in speed. Now, if I have that low roll on, let's say a mezzo forte on a 32, that's a good roll speed. But if I use my ear, that's not going to work well on a higher drum, on a higher pitch, because it's going to be too slow. That all of a sudden starts to sound a lot more like a rhythm, so I need to speed it up. So you can see in here, we're trying to create the illusion of sustain, even though obviously we can't do like a vocalist or a string player and hold that note as long as they can, but we can create that illusion by by letting the drum help us using its resonance, where big drums are going to have a lot of resonance, smaller drums are going to have less resonance. So we need to adjust our roll speed for that. So use your ear, make sure that you're listening to your roll and make them as full as possible. Have a great day and axe some jacks.